Yeah, it's time for the MIRUKO flips, definitely. This is so amazing, man. They have all the bodies of MIRUKOs, definitely. She's so goddamn badass, but it's also like, stop hurting my MIRUKO! It's ankles, yeah, you're like, oh yeah. This is incredibly badass, but it's also like, stop hurting my goddamn waifu! Like, look at this shit, man. He's like, I'm the ultimate waifu hero, absolutely. MIRUKO is by far the best goddamn character in my game. Jesus Christ! See, this shit, man. Like, why is MIRUKO the one that gets every goddamn damage? She's so amazing, but at the same time, you're like, please stop it. Like, seriously, he got like a massive hate bonus for MIRUKO. Holy shit. Yeah. He's just like, this woman is the only woman that gets all the damage, man. Of course, she's badass, but I'm just like, Jesus Christ, can MIRUKO do not get punched or kicked every episode? Yeah, baby. Freaking MIRUKO, right? It's a pretty cool image anyway, but... so let's review the episode. Why does he hate my MIRUKO? I'm just like, stop hating the waifu, man! Stop hating the waifu! Frustrating episode to watch, right? For all of us MIRUKO fans. It is a weird feeling, right? Because obviously MIRUKO is the coolest, best character in My Academia. She's a badass, badass warrior waifu, right? I mean, I already felt that MIRUKO was the best character, right? Before the season. And now in this beginning of the season, right? And again here then MIRUKO gets, really cool scenes. Also, I think from an animation standpoint, the MIRUKO fights have been the best so far, right? Both, like, the first scene, she flexed her tights and so on, right? And then, the next fight scene in the, which looks at her arm, and now this again. So, MIRUKO also gets the best animation so far easily. Like, this episode as well, the MIRUKO scenes are definitely the best, I think. It's purely for my quality animation, but as well, right? But certainly, as a MIRUKO fan, it's a little bit of a juxtapositioning emotion up. You're like, man, I really want to see my badass waifu MIRUKO kick some ass, but I also don't want to see you lose every body part. It's like, can you stop hurting my MIRUKO? It's just like, yeah, it looks awesome. She spins around, she does all this cool shit and so on. And again, the animation, her fights are amazing. I guess by far has the best fights of the season. It looks fantastic, but again, at the same time, you're like, oh, why does MIRUKO always lose everybody? But he's like, stop hurting my MIRUKO. It is, why do you hate my MIRUKO for? That's honestly what I feel, right? Yeah, like it is, but honestly, I do think it's a weird emotional bit, because of course having the waifu has this like really cool badass fight, right? Losing like, getting stabbed in the leg and she keeps fighting and so on, right? Like that makes her really stand out. It gives her that Merlona vibe, or a similar waifus, right? She gets shot but she keeps fighting anyway or whatever, She gets that, super, legit badass, vibe. And I already called her ultimate badass, right, in a previous, it sounds like I already called her the ultimate badass in his previous reaction, so I don't know what to call her. Like every episode I need to be like, ultimate badass MIRUKO, right? So, on one way, it really extrapolates her badassery, right? By having all this damage and all the blood and so on. But on the same time, I do feel it comes back to what I said in a previous review, right? Talking about MIRUKO, where I'm just like, it's very obvious to me, as I keep saying, right? That when an author, I think it's very, very true for almost every manga and anime, when the author is like, well, this character is the one to lose an arm, or she lose a leg too, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously I was correct, right, on my previous video, my review. I might be older, right, so I don't know what happened, but I theorized, right, that if I was a manga reviewer, I obviously would have same theory, right? I theorized that I feel pretty confident she's gonna get more, damage, right? Because, again, right, I keep saying it, but I keep saying it in every anime, if there's a character, when the author is like, well, she's gonna lose a lot of blood, that's gonna be the character that keeps the blood, yeah, because it bothers me also a little bit that it's so obvious, because, like, not a single other character in this raid has taken any damage, you know what I mean? It's like 30 heroes in his house, right, and it's like one of them, the best female character in the anime, she's the only one that takes every damage, man. She's the only one that takes all the blood. Yeah, no one else gets any damage. Only her. Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe Endeavor could be punched. No. MIRUKO again. You're like, maybe MIRUKO again. That's really how it is, right? Like every goddamn scene, it's just like continuation of MIRUKO getting hurt, right? like 3-4 minutes. But yeah, seriously, very brutal, man, because it's kept like hitting her in the legs and And then of course eventually it didn't even matter, right? Because what she didn't stop them anyway. But that's typical anime plot armor for the bad guy. But anyway, let's go away from the MIRUKO abuse. Go away from MIRUKO abuse and talk about stuff. I did mention in the reaction, I do feel a little silly, or silly, I don't know what to call it, but I feel a little weird, you know, how the super intellectual Norman, right? So, you know, you have different Normans, right? She's one of those high functional Normans, right? They're smarter, she got like a brain quirk, right? Whatever. But I do think it's a little weird, right? Because the issue, of course, by having a super intellectual Normal is that why would they cooperate, right? Generally speaking, right? Like, first of all, why wouldn't they be angry at, you know, being kidnapped and turned into a monster or whatever, right? You know, they use their body parts to make them and so on. They kind of a Frankenstein monster, right? So why would they help the doctor? It's like Frankenstein, the literal Frankenstein book, right? He doesn't, you know, like the, you know, they haven't fight with. Well, actually, he's Frankenstein monster, and Frankenstein is that, you know. But whatever your point, yeah, they don't even have, you know, a best friendship, right? And I feel the same thing here. Also, this woman is a super intellectual novel. Why does she help them, right? And yes, she got this like, keep watching. I guess they played opposite. She's enjoying it, so she wants to kill all the heroes because she is enjoying killing people. So I guess she's like because she likes to fight or something, and that's kind of how it's explained, right? But I hope you get my point. That I would argue for that it's probably a bit more reasonable if you make a novel that's too intellectual, right? It would just probably escape instead, right? It would probably go out and be like, oh, I'm free, I'm just gonna leave, right? Yeah, like, why am I gonna stay here for? I'm gonna fight these heroes, I'm finally free from the experiment, and I got all these powers, and I'm very intellectual, I'm just leave, right? Yeah, like, why would I stand and fight and die, right, for these guys to kidnap me earlier, right? So, that to me is a little weird. I guess you could argue that, oh, he has control over them and so on, but, you know, the smarter they are, right, the more they would be rebellious, right? So it's a little bit like, yeah, why do they do that? Because, of course, the other Normals, the ones that are really, really stupid, I mean, then you're like, yeah, but these are like super dumb, right? So they're just gonna follow the Chris Scientist guy, right? Yeah, because they're stupid. So that makes more sense. Yeah, you're like, yeah, of course, they're like... I felt the scene when he was like, I'm just gonna exposition my life, you know. I think it's a little bit... I don't mind, you know, I'm an evil scientist, I'm gonna do my maniac laughter, I'm gonna explain what I did to the boy, and I'm gonna have this long, you know, this is what I so on, right? But on the same time, I felt a little bit like, that scene was like 5 minutes, no, but it was like 4.5 minutes, it was very, very long. And of course had the Shigaraki flashbacks, right? And that was a really good visual scene, yeah, I like that. It was like a kind of a, I guess, a short summary, right, of his, you know, childhood, right, and he killed his parents and, you know, killed his sisters and so on, right? But it was a visually a really cool scene when they all grabbed him. No, I wish I got a photo of that, but because my PC didn't work. But you know, get my point. Like, they all grabbed him right with their hands, and he has this whole, you know, hand thing going on, right? He's always had a thing with, you know, he always had the family hands, right? And then they all grabbed him with their hands. And then maybe it's a grandma coming in there. She also gets him with her hand, like in his head. And then he kind of just kills his grandma, right? She kind of, you know, pushes the dust or so on, right? So that's a very cool visual scene. Definitely. But from a story aspect, it's kind of summarized very new, right? Yeah. But then of course he gets up, yeah, and then he gets into that typical horror as I mentioned. He's like, "Ah, I'm alive again!" Yeah, and he can kill the poor heroes that they left. They left one of the weaker heroes, but the super supreme bad guy alone with him. Yeah, that guy is probably dead next episode. But anyway, guys, please subscribe to someone.